Welcome to Train Sim World, an immersive and highly detailed rail simulation featuring authentic routes and trains from around the world. This is the training center. Here you can learn about how to navigate and interact with the world, as well as how to operate the many trains. Let's start by looking around. Find each of the markers and look at them. Your current objective is shown at the top left of the screen. Walk to the blue marker to complete the current objective. You've been awarded some action points. These are displayed in the top right corner of the screen and count towards your overall experience level for the game. This is one of the many types of route tasks to be discovered. Keep an eye out for many more types and styles of route tasks, which can involve placing, collecting, or fixing a variety of things. Head into the main building, and you'll continue your induction there. You can pause Train Sim World at any point to review objectives and a lot of other information about what's happening at the moment. Try it now, and then return to the game after you've had a look around. Now that we've covered some of the basics of moving around and interacting with the environment, let's take a walk through the building and find the trains. This is Central Square. From here, you can explore the main training center depot and surrounding yards. Your journey operating trains is just getting started here in the training center. Remember, you can always come back here from the main menu to refresh your knowledge if you're unsure about anything. Continue to learn and other training modules here in the training center, and then you'll be ready to take on more challenges in other environments. This module will cover the on-screen overlay, known as the heads-up display or HUD, that is shown when you are in control of a train. Climb up the ladder into the locomotive and then sit in the seat. Welcome to the most important seat in the train. While sitting here, you'll be in full control. Before you think about moving the train, though, let's look at the HUD overlay that's appeared on the bottom right. The heads-up display is a guide to what your train is doing. The main part of the HUD is the speed display. A white bar will appear around the outside to show your current speed, and the red mark indicates your maximum permitted speed. This is the direction display. An arrow will indicate forward, reverse, and neutral directions. This is the power display. A number will indicate what position the power or throttle control is in. These are the brake indicators. The exact ones shown will vary by train and will often be visible in the train itself on various gauges. They tell you what's happening in the braking system. The most important one is the BC or brake cylinder. If that's reading 0, then your brakes are released. Anything else, and brakes are applied and you won't be able to move. Every train can have small variations in the HUD unique to the way it works, but they will mostly look the same. As you learn to control new trains, study the HUD and learn how it helps you operate it. If you want to see this again, you can rerun this training module at any time. In this training module, you're going to look at making the train move and then bringing it to a stop again. While many trains have different controls and are operated in different ways, there are basically always 3 controls that are common and are required to move the train. The reverser sets the direction between forwards and backwards. The brakes are used to slow or stop the train. The throttle controls how fast the train accelerates. We want to move the train forwards. Keep the brake control and release until you can see the brake pipe control needles are... Watch the brake cylinder, or BC gauge, to see it gradually reduce to 0, which tells you that the brakes are now fully released and you can move the train. Apply some throttle to get the train moving. As you apply power, notice the amp bar rising. This is the amount of power being fed into the traction motors. Now that you've reached your target speed, you can move the throttle control back to 0. The train will then coast on level ground, and the train will only slow down very gradually. While the specifics of operating brakes vary from train to train, the basic process of stopping is fundamentally the same. Bring this train to a complete stop by holding the brake control in the apply state until you see the brake pipe control needle in the center of your cab desk showing about 4 bar. The amount of braking you'll need to apply also varies depending on whether you're going uphill or downhill, and how heavy your train is. Stopping a train is one of the biggest challenges of controlling them, particularly stopping them in the right place. That concludes this module. Restart the module to learn the steps again, or move on to the next module. This module will go over the fundamentals of operating junctions to change the path your train will take, and how to navigate using the map. Most rail lines around the world are controlled remotely by a signaling center or dispatcher. From the perspective of the train, the direction taken is automatic. But within yards and depots, many small and frequent movements are required. This makes remote control of the track impractical. In these locations, the direction taken is manually controlled. You can set junctions by either walking up to them and interacting with them, or going to the 2D map and changing them from there. Let's change this junction by hand first. Walk over to it and change it by operating the lever. Notice how the point blades move on the track. Try moving it a few more times until you can see how it works. Let's head over to the train, and then we can look at the map. Your junctions are set correctly. Let's get the train moving and see it all working. If you can't remember how to make the train start and stop, there is a training module you can rerun to remind yourself. Keep the brake control and release until you can... Watch the brake cylinder, or BC gauge, to see it gradually reduce to 0, which tells you that the brakes are now fully released and you can move the train. Apply some throttle to get the train moving. Now that you've reached your target speed, you can move the throttle control back to 0. The train will then coast on level ground, and the train will only slow down very gradually. Bring this train to a complete stop by holding the brake control in the apply state until you see the brake pipe control needle in the center of your cab desk showing about 4 bar. That concludes this module. All the junctions in the training center are manual, so you can go anywhere you wish using the map and by changing junctions manually. If you want to practice, go to Explore on Foot in the training center. You'll find trains dotted around, and you can practice driving them and moving them around the yard. Don't forget, you can always rerun this training module later if you can't remember any of what's been covered.
In this training module, you'll be taken through the operation of this Class 465. During this brief introduction, we will be covering the critical driving controls and passenger operations. Look, when you're ready, climb aboard to get started. Take a seat in the driver's seat. This is where you'll be spending most of your time. Firstly, you will need to insert the master key to activate the desk. The reverser controls the direction of travel. Set the headlights to let others around you know that this train is operational. For this introduction, you will be driving the train a short distance and performing passenger operations. Open the passenger doors to allow boarding. Now drive a loop of the circuit to get used to the controls. The train features a combined brake and throttle power. Coasting is a method. Development of the Class 465 networker began in 1988, with the first unit being delivered in 1991 and the final in 1995. Of the 140 units produced, 131 remain in active service, 40 years after they were first introduced. The Class 465 networker's 8 traction motors produce a combined power output of 3,000 horsepower, that's 2,420 kilowatts, and allow the train to reach a top speed of 75 miles per hour. You are approaching the station. Begin applying a small amount of braking force to bring the train to a gentle stop. Nice job! The train has safely come to a stop. You can now use the door control to open the passenger doors. Proceed to the next stop unguided and see how you get on. Good work! That concludes all of the basics of operating this train. Welcome to Ashford International, located in Kent in the southeast of England. Situated directly between London and the Strait of Dover, Kent has always been an important link between the capital city, the coast and mainland Europe. Today, HS1, previously known as the Channel Tunnel Rail Link, provides an essential high-speed connection through this historic county for both domestic and international travellers. There's a missing route map over there. Fix this while you're here. There are lots more tasks to discover throughout this route. Make sure to apply all the route maps, place newspaper bundles, patch holes in the fences and place safety signs. Your train has arrived. Let's climb aboard. This train is the British Rail Class 395 Javelin, manufactured by Hitachi. Go on, sit down in any available seat. Ashford Station originally opened in 1842, although it has gone through two significant rebuilds since then. First to provide electrification, and then again to facilitate international travel. On a typical year, around 4 million domestic and international passengers use this station. This route runs for over 60 miles between Ashford International and London St Pancras, as well as an additional 30-mile link between Dartford and Faversham. On this route, you can experience a unique and exciting blend of classic mainline running and thrilling high-speed commuting aboard state-of-the-art motive power. This is Train Sim World, Southeastern High Speed, London to Ashford and Faversham.
Zugbeeinflussung. 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 Zugbeeinflussung.
In this training module, you'll be out on the real railway, and you'll be learning about the LZB safety system. LZB is required on lines that allow for speeds higher than 160 km per hour, as the braking distances are too high for normal signal operation. This train has already been mostly set up for you, but before you depart, you will need to make sure the LZB safety system and AFB speed control system are switched on. The safety switches are in the isolation cabinet. To enable LZB, first head over to the cabinet and then set the LZB isolation switch to the required position. Sit in the driver's seat. Enable the AFB speed control system in the left multifunction display. OK. Set the AFB to 60 km per hour with the AFB speed selector. As you are already in an LZB area, the train is already showing the U indicator in the cab and on the HUD, which tells you that the train is under active LZB monitoring. There are two primary components to LZB in the cab. The current maximum permitted speed is indicated on the speedometer with a small red triangle and on the HUD by a blue marker. Currently, the maximum permitted speed is 250 km per hour. The distance to the next upcoming change is shown on the left of the speedometer by a yellow bar and a number, which is the number of meters to the change. On the HUD, this is in hundreds of meters, so a reading of 97 means 9,700 meters, or 9.7 kilometers. Below the speedometer, the upcoming maximum permitted speed is displayed. Move the AFB speed selector all the way forward to its maximum 330 kilometers. The LZB distance counter has started going down, and the number at the bottom of the speedometer in the cab is 0, which tells you that you're approaching a stop. You will soon see the LZB maximum permitted speed begin to drop, and the train will automatically begin to slow down to stay within it. It will do this all the way to stopping the train without your intervention. However, you should remain vigilant and apply more braking if you feel it's needed to remain within the maximum permitted speed. Keep an observing eye on the progress of the train. Since the maximum permitted speed is reducing, the automated systems should manage it perfectly, but are not a substitute for the driver in charge. The G indicator has lit up on the HUD and on the train display. When this is solidly lit, that is telling you that the train must slow down. With the AFB speed control system enabled, this should happen automatically. However, if you choose to drive without AFB, this is when you should be slowing down. Once the G light starts flashing, you are going too fast and are about to get an emergency brake application. You should brake much stronger if this happens and get back below the maximum permitted speed. Okay, you're about to see a signal with all its lights turned off. This is called a dark signal. Signals go dark when there is a train in the section they protect. With traditional signaling systems, this would show a red and prohibit you from going any further until the other train has moved. But under LZB, you are able to rely on this more advanced system to let you proceed into the occupied block safely, knowing that LZB will direct you to stop as required. This is the main signal showing no lights, related to the previous distance signal that you passed. You are now entering an occupied block and will continue to rely on LZB as it brings you to a stop. As you now come to a stop, keep an eye out for the white board on the right-hand side of the track ahead. It will have a number in it. On this line, LZB works by breaking the large main blocks into much smaller ones and representing those by these white boards on the right. This is an LZB block board, and it's this board that your train is not permitted to pass at the moment. You have come to a stop, and the train ahead has already started moving. So momentarily, LZB will recognize this, and the maximum permitted speed will jump up, and you'll be able to get moving again. The white board with a symbol that looks like an X means this is a distance signal and is warning you that the next main signal is protecting an occupied block, so both this and the following signal will be dark. Continue to monitor progress as the train comes to a complete stop shortly. You are now proceeding along the line into Würzburg. A few kilometers out of Würzburg, you'll need to handle the train into the station. For now, continue to monitor the train as it navigates the different speeds while you follow the train up ahead. In a moment, the ender light will begin flashing on the HUD and in the cap. Once this happens, you will have 10 seconds to respond to it. You will need to press PZB release. If you fail to do so in time, the train will begin braking towards zero, but you can still press PZB release at any point to regain control of the train. The ender light flashing signifies that LZB control will be coming to an end soon, and it is therefore crucial that the driver confirms they will be taking back full control of the train.
Zug beeinflusst.
Once acknowledged, the ender light will remain on and solid, confirming that it has been acknowledged and reminding you that LZB will be ending soon. Once LZB actually ends, the light will go out. You do not need to acknowledge the final end of LZB, but your AFB will become inactive until you reset it to zero and then reapply it. As you are leaving LZB control, it becomes important that you begin reading the signals up ahead in more detail. This one has a 6 below the lights and is telling you that you must be doing less than 60 km per hour by the next signal. Begin slowing as required. The ender light has just gone out completely, which means that you are now completely out of LZB control and back to traditional signaling systems. The U indicator has also gone out, confirming LZB is no longer active, and the B indicator has come on, letting you know it remains ready to come back online later. By now, the train should be going around 60 km per hour, as instructed by the previous signal, and the next one with the 3 at the bottom is instructing you to be down to 30 km per hour by the next signal. This signal with 2 yellow lights on it tells you that the next signal following it is a red stop signal, so you should prepare to stop. In this case, the stop signal is at the other end of the platform, where you will be stopping anyway, but it is good to be aware of the upcoming signals. Now that you are out of LZB, you should reset the AFB selector lever back to zero. As you are approaching a stop in the station ahead, however, you should not reapply it. Continue into the station using the throttle and brake as required. You've arrived successfully at Würzburg. Well done. That concludes this training module. Please repeat this module as many times as you wish by finding it in the training center until you get used to how the systems work.
Zugbeeinflussung. Zugbeeinflussung.
you.